The morning started like any other on the Zelkari command ship. Admiral Vexstar reviewed his daily reports while sipping his morning nutrient blend. The bridge hummed with quiet activity as his crew monitored space traffic across their sector. Everything seemed normal until the communication officer turned toward him with concern. "Admiral, we have a problem," the officer said. "Human ships are mining asteroids in the Kepler belt without proper council permits." Vexstar set down his drink and walked to the main display. The screen showed several human vessels extracting minerals from rocks that technically belonged to no one. But the Galactic Council had rules about expansion, and humans were supposed to follow them like everyone else. "How long have they been there?" Vexstar asked. 3 days, sir. They ignore our messages telling them to stop." Vexstar felt his anger rise. Humans had only joined the Galactic Council 50 years ago. They were the newest species in the galaxy, with weak ships and simple technology. Yet, they acted like they could do whatever they wanted. "Send them one final warning," he ordered. "If they do not leave in 1 hour, we will remove them." The hour passed quickly. The human ships continued their work as if nothing had happened. Vexstar watched them through the viewer, his patience running out. "They think we are bluffing," he said to his bridge crew. "Time to teach these young species about respect." "Sir," his weapons officer said carefully, "should we just destroy their mining ships?" "No," Vexstar replied. "That would not send a strong enough message. Target their home system. Destroy some of their defense stations. Make sure they understand who makes the rules here." The Zelkari fleet moved toward Earth's solar system. They had done this many times before with other species. A quick strike, some destroyed property, and the young race would learn to behave. Humans were no different from any other species that had tried to challenge Council authority. Earth's orbital defenses were laughably weak. 3 space stations floated around the blue planet, armed with simple missile systems that could barely stop asteroids. The human moon had a research facility that looked like a collection of metal boxes welded together. "Begin the demonstration," Vexstar commanded. Green energy beams shot from the Zelkari ships. The 3 orbital stations exploded in bright flashes. Pieces of metal and glass scattered into space. Then the fleet turned toward the moon and fired again. The research station vanished in a ball of fire. "Message sent," Vexstar said with satisfaction. "Return to base." The attack took less than 10 minutes. No human lives were lost because the stations were mostly automated. It was a perfect demonstration of power without crossing into actual war. Vexstar expected the humans to send angry messages, maybe even complaints to the Council. Instead, something unexpected happened. 3 days later, every species in the galaxy received the same message. The human president requested an emergency meeting with the full Galactic Council. Not just the local representatives, but every single species leader. "They want to surrender formally," laughed Counselor Vex, a purple creature with 4 arms who represented the Andorian coalition. Humans always were dramatic. "Maybe they want to apologize," suggested Counselor Marin from the Crystalline Collective. "Young species often do this after being disciplined." The council chamber on Nexus Prime filled with delegates from 847 different species. Some looked like humans, but with different colored skin. Others were completely alien, creatures made of gas, living rocks, beings of pure energy contained in mechanical suits. They all gathered in the massive hall that could hold millions of beings. Most delegates brought large groups of advisors, translators, and security teams. The meeting was being broadcast across the galaxy. Everyone wanted to see how humanity would respond to their first real defeat. President Sarah Chung arrived alone. She walked into the chamber carrying only a small black briefcase. No guards, no advisors, no fancy clothes or jewelry. Just a middle-aged human woman in a simple blue suit. She looked completely calm, as if she was attending a normal business meeting instead of facing the most powerful beings in the galaxy. "Where is her delegation?" whispered Counselor Vec from the insectoid hive. "Where are her weapons?" Her threats? The chamber fell silent as President Chun approached the speaking platform in the center of the room. 847 species watched her with curiosity and amusement. Many delegates were already composing the victory speeches they would give later. Chun placed a briefcase on the platform but did not open it. She looked around the chamber slowly, making eye contact with as many delegates as possible. Her expression never changed. She showed no fear, no anger, no sadness. Just a strange kind of patience that made some of the telepathic species feel uncomfortable. "Honored delegates," she began, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber's advanced sound system. "I come before you today to address a serious matter. 3 days ago, the Zelkari hegemony launched an unprovoked attack against human space." Admiral Vextar, sitting with the Zelkari delegation, rolled his eyes. "It was hardly an attack," he called out. "We destroyed some empty stations to teach you respect." Chun turned toward him and smiled. It was not a happy smile. "You attacked our home," she said simply. Those 4 words seemed to echo in the chamber longer than they should have. Several delegates shifted uncomfortably in their seats. The telepathic species looked confused, as if they had heard something that did not match the simple statement. "I am here to inform you of humanity's response to this aggression," Chun continued. "But first, I think there are some things about my species that you need to understand." She reached for her briefcase, and the chamber held its breath. Whatever was inside that simple black container was about to change everything. President Chun opened her briefcase with steady hands. Inside was a single device that looked like a metal cube about the size of her palm. It had no buttons, no lights, no obvious function. She lifted it out and placed it carefully on the platform. "For the past 2 centuries, Chun began, humanity has been listening to your communications." A wave of confused murmurs swept through the chamber. Councillor Vex leaned forward in his seat. "Impossible," he said loudly. "Your species only developed radio technology 300 years ago. You made first contact with us 50 years ago. You could not have been listening for 2 centuries. Chun's expression did not change. "We told you we developed radio 300 years ago. We told you many things. Most of them were lies." The chamber erupted in angry voices. Delegates shouted questions and accusations in hundreds of different languages. The translation systems worked overtime to convert everything into understandable speech. Chun waited patiently for the noise to die down. "Your radio telescopes," Admiral Vextar said with a sneer. "We examined them when we first met you. Primitive devices barely capable of detecting signals from your own star system." "Those were not our real listening devices," Chun replied. "Those were the ones we wanted you to see. Our actual communication arrays use quantum entanglement technology. They can detect and decode transmissions from anywhere in the galaxy instantly." Councillor Marin from the Crystalline Collective stood up. Her voice rang like breaking glass when she spoke. "You claim to have quantum communication? That technology is beyond most species in this council. We have been spacefaring for thousands of years and still struggle with quantum physics." "You struggle with it because you think in straight lines," Chun said. "You see problems and try to solve them step by step. Humans think differently. We imagine impossible things and then figure out how to make them real." She gestured to the metal cube on the platform. "This device contains complete technical specifications for every ship, weapon, and defense system used by every species in this council. We know how your engines work, how your shields operate, where your planets are located, and how many ships you have in your fleets." The chamber fell completely silent. Even the background hum of the life support systems seemed louder than usual. "How?" whispered Councillor Vec from the insectoid hive. "Through your own translation software," Chun answered. "Every species in this council downloaded our universal translator programs. You thought they were gifts of friendship. Actually, they were scanning programs disguised as language tools. Every time you used them, they copied data from your computers and sent it back to us." Panic began to spread through the chamber. Delegates frantically activated personal communication devices, trying to contact their homeworlds. Security officers moved toward their weapons. Several smaller species began heading for the exits. Chung raised her hand, and somehow everyone stopped moving. "There is more you need to know," she continued. "When we first detected your civilizations, we realized we had three choices. We could hide forever, hoping you would never find us. We could try to join your council as equals and hope you would treat us fairly. Or we could prepare for the day when someone attacked our home. You chose to spy on us," Admiral Vextar said angrily. "You violated every law of galactic society. We chose to survive," Chun corrected. "And recent events prove we made the right choice." She began walking around the platform, her footsteps echoing in the silent chamber. "When humans first learned we were not alone in the universe, our governments had a single reaction: terror. Not because we feared alien attack, but because we knew what we would do if we discovered a weaker species. You are not warriors," scoffed Counselor Vex. "Your species has no natural weapons, no thick skin, no poison. You are soft and weak." Chun smiled that disturbing smile again. "Every species in this chamber evolved to fill a specific role in their environment. You Andorians developed 4 arms to manipulate tools. The Crystalline Collective became living computers to process information. The insectoids evolved hive minds to coordinate massive populations." She stopped walking and faced the chamber. "Humans evolved to hunt creatures stronger, faster, and more dangerous than themselves. We are persistent predators. We do not give up. We do not stop. We follow our prey until it collapses from exhaustion, and then we kill it." "This is nonsense," Admiral Vextar said, but his voice sounded less confident than before. "You have no evidence of these capabilities. 3 days ago, you destroyed what you thought was a research station on our moon," Chun said. "It was not conducting scientific experiments. It was the final testing facility for our latest weapons development program. You completed our weapons testing for us and provided the perfect justification for what happens next." She reached into her briefcase again and pulled out a small communication device. "Computer, begin Phase 1 of Operation Safeguard." "Phase 1 initiated," a voice replied from the device. "All human assets are now active." Throughout the chamber, every delegate's personal communication device began receiving the same message. Emergency alerts from their home worlds. Impossible reports that defied explanation. "Human ships have appeared near our colonies," Counselor Marin said, reading from her device with disbelief. "Dozens of them. Our sensors show nothing, but our visual observers confirm they are there." "Same here," reported Counselor Vec. "Human fleets surrounding our hive worlds. Ships using technology we did not recognize." Admiral Vextar was frantically trying to contact his command ship. "Our entire fleet has lost power," he said. "All weapons offline. All communications jammed. How is this possible?" Chun returned to the platform and picked up her metal cube. "This device does not just contain your technical specifications. It also contains every virus, logic bomb, and system override we developed based on that information. For the past 10 minutes, that data has been uploading into every connected system in this chamber." She looked directly at Admiral Vextar. "Your command ship is now under human control, along with every other military vessel in Zelkari space." The chamber erupted in chaos again, but this time it was pure panic. Delegates screamed into communication devices that no longer worked properly. Security systems failed throughout the station. Emergency lights began flashing as basic life support shifted to backup power. "This is an act of war," Counselor Vex shouted above the noise. Chun's voice cut through the chaos like a blade. "No," she said. "This is a demonstration. War is what happens next if you do not listen very carefully to what I am about to tell you." The chamber slowly grew quiet as delegates realized their communication devices were not working. Emergency lights bathed everything in red, making the massive hall looked like the inside of a wounded beast. President Chun stood calmly at the center of it all, waiting. "You have our attention," said Counselor Zara from the Energy Collective, her voice crackling through her mechanical suit. "What do you want?" "I want you to understand what just happened," Chun replied. 3 days ago, the Zelkari hegemony attacked human territory without warning. They destroyed our property and threatened our people. By the laws of your own council, that was an act of war. It was a minor disciplinary action, Admiral Vextar protested. A few empty stations. No one was killed. You attacked our home, Chun repeated, and again those words seemed to carry more weight than they should. You struck at the place where human children are born and raised, where our families live, where our ancestors are buried. She began walking around the platform again, her footsteps the only sound in the vast chamber. Every species here thinks they understand warfare. You build bigger ships, stronger weapons, more soldiers. You fight for territory or resources or pride. But you do not understand what it means to threaten someone's home. Humans are not the only species that protects their territory, said Councilor Ket from the warrior caste of Arcturus. We have defended our worlds for centuries. You defend your worlds, Chun agreed. Humans defend their home. Do you understand the difference? The question hung in the air. Several delegates looked confused. Others seemed genuinely thoughtful. Chun stopped walking and faced the chamber. A world is a place where you live. A home is a place that lives inside you. When you threaten someone's world, they might negotiate or retreat or surrender. When you threaten someone's home, they will burn down the entire galaxy to protect it. These are just words, Admiral Vextar said. Philosophy and poetry. We have dealt with aggressive species before. Have you? Chun asked. Name one species in this council that declared war on another for attacking their home system. The chamber fell silent. Hundreds of delegates searched their memories for an example. After several minutes, it became clear that none existed. Every war in galactic history has been fought for resources, territory, or political power, Chun continued. Species fight until the cost becomes too high. Then they negotiate and make peace. But humans are different. We do not fight for profit or territory. We fight to survive. And when survival is at stake, we do not negotiate. She activated her communication device again. Computer, show them the Prometheus files. The chamber's main display activated, showing a star map of the galaxy. Thousands of red dots appeared, scattered across every major trade route and near every important world. Those are human colonies and outposts, Chun explained. You thought we had 12 worlds and 43 minor settlements. Actually, we have over 3,000 hidden installations throughout the galaxy. Gasps echoed through the chamber. The scale was impossible. How can a species build so many settlements without being detected? Each installation appears to be something innocent, Chun continued. A mining operation, a research station, a trading post. In reality, they are military production facilities. Every human colony can manufacture weapons, ships, and soldiers. Your technology is primitive, Councilor Marin protested. We have examined your ships. Simple fusion engines and basic hull materials. Those are our public ships, Chun said. The ones we wanted you to see. Our real fleet uses technology you have not discovered yet. The display changed to show new images. Ships that seemed to be made of liquid metal. Weapons that fired beams of pure darkness. Soldiers wearing armor that bent light around them. Impossible, whispered Councilor Vec. Our science says these things cannot exist. Your science is limited by your imagination, Chun replied. Humans dream of impossible things and then make them real. We imagined ships that could travel through solid matter, so we built them. We imagined weapons that ignore energy shields, so we created them. We imagined soldiers that could become invisible, so we trained them. Admiral Vextar stood up angrily. Even if this is true, you are still only one species. The Council has 847 member races. You cannot fight us all. Chun looked at him with something that might have been pity. Admiral, I am not here to fight the Council. I am here to hold you responsible for what happened. Responsible for what? Demanded Councilor Vex. For allowing the attack on our home, Chun said simply. The Zelkari hegemony is a council member. Their actions were taken under council authority. By failing to prevent their aggression, you have all become participants in it. The chamber erupted in outraged voices. Delegates shouted that they had no control over individual member actions. Others argued that the council was not responsible for every minor conflict. Chun waited for quiet, then spoke again. I hereby formally declare the Zelkari hegemony an enemy of humanity. But more importantly, I declare that this council has failed in its most basic duty. You were supposed to maintain peace. Instead, you allowed one of your members to attack our home. What do you want? Asked Councilor Zara, her mechanical voice cutting through the arguments. Justice, Chun replied. The Zelkari leadership will be delivered to human custody within 72 standard hours. They will face trial for war crimes under human law. The Zelkari government will pay full reparations for the damage they caused. Absolutely not, Admiral Vexstar declared. The hegemony will never surrender to a primitive species. That is your choice, Chun said calmly. But understand the consequences. If you refuse, humanity will demonstrate exactly why we are called the species that climbs. What does that mean? Asked Councilor Ket. It means we never stop climbing until we reach the top, Chun explained. Other species see a mountain and think about whether it is worth climbing. Humans see a mountain and climb it because it is there. You put obstacles in our way, and we go over them, under them, or through them. But we never stop climbing. She picked up her briefcase and prepared to leave. You have 72 hours to deliver the Zelkari leadership and agree to reparations. After that, you will learn what happens when you attack someone's home. And if we refuse? Admiral Vexstar asked. Chun turned back toward him. For the first time, her calm expression changed. She smiled, and every predatory instinct that humanity had inherited from millions of years of evolution was visible in that smile. Then you will discover why humans are the only species that hunts for sport. 72 hours passed without a single response from the Galactic Council. Admiral Vexstar returned to his home system confident that humans were bluffing. The Zelkari had the strongest military in their sector, with over 2,000 warships and planetary defenses that had never been breached. The first sign something was wrong came from the outer sensor stations. Admiral, the communication officer called out. We are receiving impossible readings from the edge of our system. What kind of readings? Vexstar asked, not looking up from his tactical reports. Ships, sir. Hundreds of them. But they are not showing up on our main sensors. Vexstar finally paid attention. He walked to the sensor station and looked at the displays. The long-range scanners showed empty space. The visual telescope showed a massive fleet of ships unlike anything in galactic databases. How are they hiding from our sensors? He demanded. They are not hiding, sir, the sensor technician said nervously. Our equipment says they do not exist. But we can see them with our eyes. The ships were beautiful and terrifying at the same time. They looked like they were made from liquid starlight, constantly shifting and flowing. Some appeared solid, then became transparent. Others seemed to fold space around themselves, appearing to be in multiple locations at once. Get me a count, Vexstar ordered. Sir, I cannot. Every time I try to count them, the number changes. Sometimes there are 300. Sometimes there are 3,000. The ships appear to exist in different dimensions simultaneously. Vexstar felt his confidence cracking. Open a communication channel. Channel open, sir. Human fleet, this is Admiral Vexstar of the Zelkari Defense Force. You are in violation of Zelkari space. Leave immediately, or we will consider this an act of war. A voice answered. It was calm and polite, with no trace of anger or aggression. Admiral Vextar, this is Captain Martinez of the human vessel Persistence. We are not here to invade your space. We are here to collect criminals. You have no authority here, Vextar replied. The Galactic Council deadline was meaningless. We do not recognize human law. The deadline was not about recognition, Captain Martinez said. It was about choice. You chose not to surrender the war criminals. Now you experience the consequences of that choice. Vextar activated his battle stations. Alarms rang throughout the ship as weapons powered up and shields activated. Across the Zelkari home system, 2,000 warships prepared for battle. Captain Martinez, you are outnumbered 6-1. Withdraw now, and we might let you leave alive. Admiral, the human captain replied, you are thinking about this incorrectly. This is not a battle between fleets. This is a demonstration of why you should have accepted our terms. Vextar gave the order to attack. 2,000 Zelkari ships fired simultaneously. Energy beams, missiles, and plasma torpedoes filled the space between the fleets. It was enough firepower to destroy a planet. The human ships did not dodge or raise shields. They simply ignored the weapons completely. Energy beams passed through them as if they were ghosts. Missiles flew through their hulls without exploding. Plasma torpedoes struck solid metal and caused no damage. What is happening? Vextar screamed at his weapons officer. I do not know, sir. Our weapons are functioning perfectly. They are hitting the targets. But nothing is happening. The humans must have some kind of super advanced shields, the tactical officer suggested. No, said the science officer, studying his readings. They have no shields at all. Our weapons are striking their ships directly. The energy is just being absorbed somehow. Captain Martinez's voice came over the communication system again. Admiral, your weapons use focused energy to damage matter. Our ships exist partially outside normal space. Your energy has nothing to attack. Impossible, Vextar said. You keep using that word, Captain Martinez replied. I do not think it means what you think it means. The human fleet began to move, but they did not fly toward the Zelkari ships. Instead, they seemed to fold space around themselves, appearing instantly next to their targets. Proximity alert. The sensor officer called out. Human ships have materialized inside our formation. Vextar looked at the tactical display in horror. Somehow, human vessels were now positioned directly next to every Zelkari ship. Not near them, next to them. Close enough that their hulls were almost touching. Fire everything, he ordered. Point-blank range. The Zelkari fleet fired again. This time, some of their weapons struck their own ships because the humans had positioned themselves so cleverly. The human vessels still took no damage, but several Zelkari ships were destroyed by friendly fire. This is impossible, Vextar muttered. Stop saying that. Captain Martinez's voice was starting to sound amused. Admiral, may I explain what is happening? Your species developed space technology by learning to build bigger ships with stronger weapons. Humans developed space technology by learning to ignore the rules that limit other species. What rules? Vextar asked desperately. The rule that matter cannot occupy the same space as other matter. The rule that energy cannot be created or destroyed. The rule that nothing can move faster than light. Humans treat these as suggestions rather than laws. As if to demonstrate, one of the human ships slowly moved through a Zelkari cruiser. The alien vessel was not destroyed or damaged. The human ship simply passed through it like it was made of air. Our ships exist in 11 dimensions simultaneously, Captain Martinez explained. We choose which dimensions to interact with and which to ignore. Your weapons exist in only 3 dimensions. They cannot touch us unless we allow it. Vextar's communication officer suddenly spoke up. Sir, I am receiving reports from across our fleet. All ships report the same thing. Their computers are being rewritten. What? Every ship in our fleet is downloading new software. Our weapon systems are being replaced. Our navigation computers are being upgraded. Our command codes are being changed. Vexstar tried to access his own ship systems and found them locked out. His weapons would not respond. His engines were offline. Even the life support was now controlled by someone else. "Captain Martinez," he said quietly, "what have you done?" "We have updated your software," the human captain replied. "Your fleet now runs on human operating systems. Your ships belong to us. Your weapons will only fire when we give permission. Your crew lives because we choose to keep them alive." The horrible truth began to dawn on Vexstar. The humans had not won through superior firepower. They had not even fought a battle. They had simply taken control of everything. How? He whispered. "Every computer system in the galaxy runs on software that contains human code," Captain Martinez explained. "You have been using our programs for decades without knowing it. We built backdoors into everything. We can control any technology that any council species has ever created." Throughout Zelkari space, the same thing was happening. Orbital defense platforms stopped responding to their operators. Planetary shield generators shut down. Communication networks rerouted through human control centers. "You have lost," Captain Martinez said. "Your entire civilization is now under human management. But we are not conquerors. We are collectors. We came here to arrest war criminals, and that is what we will do." "And if we resist?" Vexstar asked. "Admiral, you no longer have the capability to resist." 1 week later, President Chun returned to the Galactic Council chamber. This time, she was not alone. Behind her walked Admiral Sarah Kim, the newly appointed commander of the Human Defense Force. The chamber looked exactly the same. But everything had changed. The 847 species still sat in their assigned places. But now, human ships held position around every major world in the galaxy. Every computer system, every communication network, every military installation was under human oversight. The galaxy looked the same but was under new management. Chun approached the speaking platform with the same calm confidence as before. But this time, no one looked amused. The delegates watched her with fear, anger, and a growing sense that they had completely misunderstood what humans were capable of. "Honored delegates," she began. "1 week ago, I warned you about the consequences of attacking our home. Today, I am here to discuss the future of galactic civilization." Admiral Vexstar sat with the Zelkari delegation, but he was no longer wearing his military uniform. Instead, he wore the simple gray clothing of a prisoner awaiting trial. His expression was empty, like a man who had lost everything he thought he knew about the universe. "The Zelkari leadership has been transferred to human custody," Chun continued. "They will face trial for war crimes. Their military has been disbanded. Their government has been dissolved. The Zelkari people will be governed by a human administrator until they demonstrate the ability to exist peacefully." "This is conquest," accused Councilor Vex, though his voice lacked its former arrogance. "You have destroyed an entire civilization." "No," Chun corrected. "We have removed a threat. The Zelkari civilization continues. Their people are unharmed. Their culture is preserved. But their ability to attack other species has been eliminated permanently." She walked around the platform as she had before. But now her footsteps seemed to echo with authority rather than warning. "However, the Zelkari problem was minor compared to what we are really here to discuss," she said. "The future of this galaxy depends on decisions that must be made today." The chamber remained silent. Every delegate was afraid to speak first. Chun activated her communication device. "Computer, display the Omega files." The main screen lit up with new images. These were not star maps or ship designs. They were photographs of something that made every species in the chamber feel cold fear. Dark objects moving through space. Ships that seemed to absorb light itself. creatures that looked like they were made from nightmares. These images were taken by our deep space monitoring stations, Chun explained. 6 months ago, we detected signs of an extragalactic invasion force approaching from dark space. They are called the Devourers, and they consume entire civilizations. Murmurs of disbelief rippled through the chamber. Several delegates activated their own communication devices to contact their science departments. Our analysis suggests they will reach the outer edge of our galaxy in approximately 100 years. Chun continued. Based on their technology and behavior patterns, no individual species will be able to resist them. Even the combined forces of this council would be insufficient. Councillor Marin from the Crystalline Collective stood up. Why should we believe you? You have already demonstrated that humans are masters of deception. Because, Chun replied, this information comes from your own deep space sensors. We simply knew how to interpret what you were seeing. She gestured to the display. Every species in this council detected these anomalies. You classified them as natural phenomena because you could not imagine they were artificial. Humans recognize them immediately because we understand what it looks like when predators hunt. Even if this is true, said Councillor Ket from the warrior caste, why should we trust humans to defend us? You have just conquered our galaxy. Chun stopped walking and faced the chamber directly. We have not conquered your galaxy. We have assumed responsibility for it. What is the difference? Demanded Councillor Vec. Conquerors take what they want and destroy what they do not need, Chun explained. We are taking control to preserve what exists. Every species in this chamber will continue to govern themselves, practice their cultures, and live according to their values. But you will do so under human protection. Admiral Kim stepped forward for the first time. The human military will establish permanent bases throughout the galaxy. We will monitor all space traffic, control all advanced weapons, and intervene in any conflicts that threaten civilian populations. Think of us as the galaxy's immune system. You are making slaves of us all, Councillor Vex said bitterly. No, Chun replied. We are making children of you all. Children who need protection from dangers they cannot yet understand. She activated the display again. New images appeared showing human construction projects throughout the galaxy. Massive shipyards, weapons factories, training facilities. For the next century, humanity will prepare this galaxy for war against the Devourers, she announced. We will build defenses that no individual species could imagine. We will train soldiers to fight enemies that exist beyond normal space. We will create weapons that can destroy things that should not be able to die. And what happens to us during this century? Asked Councillor Zara. You live, Chun said simply. You grow. You learn. You contribute what you can to the collective defense. And when the Devourers arrive, you fight alongside us or you survive under our protection. What if we refuse? Admiral Vexstar asked from his prisoner's seat. Chun looked at him with something that might have been sympathy. Admiral, you attacked our home because you thought humans were weak. Now you know better. Do you really want to discover what happens when you threaten our adopted children? The threat was clear, but it was delivered with the tone of a patient teacher rather than an angry conqueror. We did not ask for this responsibility, Chun continued, addressing the entire chamber. Humans would have been happy to remain a minor species trading peacefully with our neighbors. But you forced our hand when you attacked us. And once we revealed our capabilities, we could not simply pretend to be harmless again. She began packing her communication device. This galaxy is now under human protection. That protection begins whether you accept it or not. But your cooperation will determine whether the next century is a time of preparation or a time of occupation. How do we know you will not simply become the next threat? Asked Councillor Marin. Chun paused and looked around the chamber one final time. Because humans understand something that no other species has learned. The strongest predator is not the one that kills the most prey. It is the one that protects the hunting ground from outside threats. She turned and began walking toward the exit, Admiral Kim following behind her. "The galaxy is our hunting ground now," she called back over her shoulder. "And we protect what belongs to us." As the two humans left the chamber, 847 species sat in stunned silence. Outside, human warships patrolled the space lanes. On 1,000 worlds, human administrators began implementing new policies. In the depths of space, construction crews started building defenses against an enemy that would not arrive for a century. The age of human dominance had begun, not through conquest, but through the simple understanding that sometimes the greatest act of mercy is the willingness to be feared.